There are many things that we struggle with, gentlemen, and there are many things that people struggle with. But one thing I believe we could all agree with is that we all struggle with shopping online. Many of you are probably better than others, but one of the things that I have always had struggle with is looking for clothes online. So what I'm going to do in this video is I'm going to help you guys out. These are practical steps, things, tips, whatever you want to tie to it that I've done throughout the course of me ever shopping online that I want to share with you all. So hopefully the things that I share in this video can help you. So whether you're looking at a new brand or you're still shopping at some of the places that you really like, you could implement some of these methods so you don't pick up anything that you're dissatisfied with. Before we hop into the video, please like, comment, and subscribe. Keep in mind, guys, we have a blog going. So check out the blog, read it, tell me what you think in the comments below, and then share with your friends. If you are a new viewer coming to this channel, hey, I appreciate you coming in. Hopefully you like what you see. Hopefully you could give a little bit of feedback or comment, just you passing by. Maybe you just say, hey, great video. I'm not necessarily subscribing, but hey, I like what you put in there. I appreciate you. Just gonna give you a little bit of what we do here at Gentleman Co. We're a newer channel. We're still trying to find our footing in this place. You might see a lot of our content is about fashion, stuff like that, but we are not pigeonholed into that. We will talk about a lot of different things, mainly overall, just, being a man. I'm a young guy. I felt like, hey, I want to share some of the knowledge I've gotten. So it could be about fashion. It could be about, the character. It could be about finance tips or things that I've implemented in my life that help me to grow a certain amount of income or help me to obtain something that, financially you would need to be a little bit better in order to get. We're talking about like credit cards or something like that. Nonetheless, we'll talk about a lot of different topics. We'll obviously stay in our lane. I'm not a big fan of talking about things you don't necessarily know about to just get viewership. But we're a young channel. If you like what you see, consider subscribing. But nonetheless, let's hop into the video. Tip number one is to know your style. This is important because you want to know what you're looking for. So one of the great ways you can do this is if you have a favorite influencer or IG account, or if you watch YouTubers like me or others, you can see how their style's like or things they recommend. And then you could be like, hey, I like that style. Knowing your style helps you know what you want to look for, and that could tunnel the brands you should probably look at more before you go to others. And that way you have a direction, right, when shopping online, because you're online, it's the whole world, or pretty much the whole world at your disposal that's selling any type of garment, clothing for men, right? So you really have to funnel that down, and having a sense of style, like this is the type of style I want to go for, greatly reduces the amount of retailers you really need to be looking at. So look for your favorite influencer's account, look at their style. Maybe there's some things you could grab that you like, and some of them do a really good job of putting the clothing in their description. I wrote a whole blog post about some brands that I like. Read that, click on it. You might find some value there. Next, guys, would be knowing your measurements. This is important because you want your clothes to fit appropriately. You don't want something that's too baggy, and obviously you don't want something that's too small. You save a lot of costs in alterations as well when you can more pinpoint your measurements, especially if you're buying off the rack. Think of things like suits or, shirting, Oxford shirts and stuff like that. When you know your measurements, you can better align with the size you need and whatever garments you're trying to purchase. So know your measurements coming in to trying to buy something online. Get with a tailor. I think it's really smart for every guy to have a tailor he could go to. If you don't have a tailor that you could go to locally, maybe even go to your dry cleaners. They could just take your measurements real quick, and it might be free of charge. And you can have a rough estimate of what your measurements are, but I highly suggest getting you a tailor, talking with them, and then measuring your body type before going in to purchase anything online. Next would be knowing the retailer's measurements or their size guide. Every retailer, if they're credible, they're going to have some type of sizing guide on their website. So when you're looking at like a shirt, it might be a shirt made in Italy, but let's say you're here in America. Most people in America are typically bigger than Italians. Whatever that attributes to, it is what it is. We probably just eat a lot more. But sizing in Italy is a lot different than sizing in America. So you have to see, okay, what is an extra large in America? How would that translate to Italy? It might be a triple XL in Italy. So be aware of that stuff. You don't want to go online and thinking a large here is a large over there, or a medium here is a medium over there. A medium in like US might be an extra large over in Italy. So take that into consideration. Typically, when you click on a garment on a retailer's website, somewhere in the details, or they quite literally might have like a size guide tab underneath the garment, it will explain and do a breakdown of the conversions between, whatever the country you're buying from or the country that it's located in, or they'll have some type of conversion between like centimeters and inches, things like that. Next would be to consider the material and care. This is very important, especially with your more higher quality and higher price pointed pieces, or your functional wardrobe items. Think about stuff like a winter jacket or a winter coat. You want a higher material because you would want something like a winter jacket or winter coat or a suit to last a long time, and you want it to hold up well. So sourcing great materials and then knowing how to take care of them are important. A lot of times retailers are on the bad end of customers taking care of the garments they purchase in the incorrect way. You want to avoid that. So when you're online, see what it kind of takes to take care of the clothing. You might want to avoid dry cleaning. You might want to avoid the machine dryer. Things like that. It might tell you not to iron or whatever. You're going to have to look into the details to appropriately take care of the clothing so you don't shrink it, damage it more than it needs to be. Things like that. Next, guys, is to consider buying 2 different sizes, especially when going to a newer brand. So if you've never shopped at a particular brand and you're unsure of the sizing and you did all the other necessary steps I said, then hey, buy 2. You know you're going to return one later, but buy 2 when you get them, try them on, see how it fits. And if you really like the brand, okay, I need an extra large in this t-shirt. I don't necessarily need a double XL or a large, right? Do that. That's like a little method. You do have to go through the hassle of returning the item, whatever item you don't want to go with. But nonetheless, once you buy it once, you kind of already know roughly my shirting is going to be this size, and then you go from there and be great. Next, guys, would be check the shipping and return information. So a lot of times if you buy an item, a lot of retailers will say, hey, it's free after a certain price point. And some retailers will obviously charge you for even like returns and stuff like that. So just be aware. And the reason why this is important is because I don't want you guys to buy something and then return it, and then you see a fee that you weren't expecting. And I know how that can be. It's annoying. It's just like, dude, what? $20? What is this? I understand. So just be aware. You don't have to go into the weeds. A lot of times you can just skim through it real quick and be like, oh, they actually charge for returns, or they're going to charge me for shipping regardless, right? Especially if you're getting something overseas, or they're going to charge me this VAT tax, stuff like that. Just be aware so you're not caught off guard. And lastly would be reading reviews or customer reviews. Some websites or retailers on their websites will have the customer reviews, and then reviews like channels like mine who might review a particular brand or other channels. You can see what they're saying. And a good way to know, hey, this is a good retailer, this is probably a good brand, is that if you constantly hear reviews and they get just positive reviews, like, they get anywhere from okay to good, roughly that this is probably a good brand. And if you see generally a positive review of the actual clothing or brand, then you can say generally this is probably going to be good for me. Obviously there's one-offs. You might be that one-off where it's terrible, but nonetheless, when you're shopping online, you won't know for sure because you're not in store, but you could go based off of the general public and then go from there. Well, guys, that is the video. Gentlemen, I appreciate you guys for making it to the end of the video. I do have a message to my subs. So if you made it this far, thank you, thank you, thank you. But to my subs, guys, thank you so much. I know we're really small right now. We are at 760 something subscribers. And, that's not a lot comparative to other channels, but we're in the race by ourselves. It's just me editing these videos, thumbnails. I do this on the side until we grow to a point where this is something where we could really legitimize. But I want to thank you guys because I would never think in my wildest dreams, like, hey, 700 and something people want to hear me talk to a screen, and I'm in my 20s, and what? You want to listen to me? Not saying I don't have the credibility, but that's super cool to me. And it's all thanks to you guys. Earlier this year in January, we were at 100 subs, something like that. And then now we're at approaching 800. And I think we'll crack 1,000 here really soon, especially if one of the videos take off. And one of the things is I just want to make sure I'm providing you guys value. So those of you who leave feedback, it could be positive feedback. You could be like, hey man, this is just dope videos. Just keep doing it. Keep refining what you're doing. You'll find the footing. You'll find your place. Great. I'm loving the content. Hey, that's awesome. Or if you have some feedback like, hey, maybe you cut too much or you do this. And maybe do that, but loving the content, great. I want to hear it, and that's how we get better. Try to avoid, feedback that really doesn't make sense. You might be like, yo, dude, I don't like your tattoo. Get over it. But nonetheless, guys, I appreciate you. You're taking the time, you're subscribing. Some of you guys looked at the blog posts. I've seen it. We're small, but I think we have something here. And to know 700 people plus in the world want to hear me talk, I don't know if you've ever seen 700 people in a room. It's a lot of people. So, and I think we could grow to something, man, I think we might have something. So I just am very appreciative of you. Thank you. As we grow, I will make sure, we hit that 1,000 subscriber mark. Okay, I'll pump even more. And you'll see, hopefully you've been seeing this step up in quality from our first videos, and some of my OG subscribers knew I had a whole other channel until it got closed down. Hopefully you see the progress. I'm putting effort into it. And then as we grow and we get bigger and bigger, I'll pump even more. And then if there's any videos you would like to see, say it in the comments, man. Say it, just like, hey, touch on this, touch on that. We're not just fashion over here. We talk a lot about different things, and we will, guys. So subs, thank you guys so much. And for the rest of you all, I appreciate you. Hopefully you have enough respect for me and you're like, man, I really like this dude. I'm a sub, because I have a ton of respect for you that keep it respectful as well. And I'm glad to have you as a sub. Or if you're a Ghost viewer, hey man, appreciate you just swinging by, showing love with your viewership. And like always, gentlemen, I will catch you in the next one.